The story introduces a dedicated Japanese medical researcher, Kanji Yakutani, who is driven by the painful memory of his younger sister's death from an incurable tumor. Consumed by his work to develop new medicines and save lives, he tragically dies in his sleep from overwork. Instead of oblivion, the researcher awakens in a different, medieval-esque world. He finds himself in the body of a 10-year-old boy named Pharma de Medicis, who belongs to a highly respected noble family of court pharmacists serving the imperial family. The original Pharma had just been struck by lightning, and our protagonist feigns amnesia to navigate his new and confusing circumstances. His devoted maid, Charlotte, notices peculiar marks on his arm from the lightning strike, believing them to be a divine sign that he was saved by the god of medicine. While reacclimating, Pharma discovers he possesses a unique and powerful ability called divine arts, the world's version of magic. By leveraging his advanced knowledge of chemistry from his previous life, he realizes he can create and deconstruct matter by simply visualizing chemical formulas. His first major test of this power results in him conjuring a massive torrent of water in his room. He also learns he has a divine eye, which allows him to see through people and diagnose illnesses with incredible accuracy, far beyond the primitive medical practices of this world. Pharma's father, Bruno, arranges for his son's private tutor, Eleanor Bonifoy, to resume his lessons. Ellen is immediately struck by how different Pharma is, not just in personality, but in his magical potential. During their lesson, Pharma demonstrates a level of control and power that should be impossible for a human. His ability to conjure any element without the proper divine crest and in immense quantities terrifies Ellen. She realizes his power is godlike and, overwhelmed with fear that he may be a monster or a malevolent spirit, she flees from him in horror. We now see Pharma's tutor, Ellen, avoiding him out of fear of his godlike abilities. When Pharma learns she is unwell with a high fever, he sees an opportunity to demonstrate the benevolent nature of his powers. He uses his modern pharmaceutical knowledge to create an effective fever-reducing medication and a soothing ointment, which he personally delivers to her. His father, Bruno, had prescribed a standard but less effective potion. The efficacy of Pharma's medicine and his genuine concern convince Ellen that he is not a malevolent being. Having earned back her trust, Ellen agrees to continue tutoring Pharma. To safely explore the extent of his abilities, they travel to a deserted island. There, Ellen explains the fundamentals of divine arts in this world, which are categorized by elements like water, fire, earth, and air, with none being a rare attribute. Pharma demonstrates his unique ability to create and manipulate any element, confirming his powers are far beyond the norm. He also learns more about his divine eye, which allows him to diagnose illnesses by seeing the affected areas and even the underlying pathogens. Back at the de Medicis estate, Pharma turns his attention to the well-being of the household staff. He observes that his loyal maid, Charlotte, and other servants suffer from chapped and cracked hands due to their manual labor. Drawing on his knowledge, he creates a moisturizing cream and a steroidal ointment for the more severe cases. This act of kindness deeply moves Charlotte, as the de Medicis family typically only provides medical care for nobility. Pharma expresses his desire to make medicine accessible to everyone, regardless of their social standing, foreshadowing his future ambitions. Pharma's younger sister Blanche comes down with chickenpox. The conventional treatment of the era is rudimentary and offers little relief. Using his advanced knowledge, Pharma creates a proper calamine lotion to soothe her itchy blisters. His gentle care and effective treatment help them to bond, and Blanche notes how different and kinder he has become since his amnesia. Pharma is summoned by his father, Bruno. He informs Pharma that they are to have an audience with the Empress of the Sanflov Empire. This summons sets the stage for his medical expertise to be tested on a much grander scale. Pharma accompanies his father, Bruno, the chief royal pharmaceutist, to the imperial palace. They are summoned to the bedside of Empress Elizabeth II, who is gravely ill with mysterious ailment the court physicians have been unable to diagnose or treat. The atmosphere is grim, with the Empress's attendants resorting to astrology and believing her death is imminent. Upon examining the Empress, Pharma utilizes his divine ability to diagnose illnesses and instantly recognizes her condition as severe tuberculosis, a disease known in this world as the White Plague and considered incurable. He observes his father preparing a palliative potion, essentially a mild anesthetic for euthanasia, as the medical establishment of the era has no effective treatment. Unwilling to stand by and watch the Empress die from a treatable disease, Pharma intervenes, boldly declaring that he can cure her. This declaration is met with shock and disbelief, most notably from his own father, who reprimands him for offering false hope and speaking of non-existent cures. The confrontation escalates as Pharma insists on his ability to produce the necessary medicine, creating dramatic tension between father and son. Forced to prove his claims, Pharma utilizes his unique divine art, which allows him to create and deconstruct substances at a molecular level. Before the astonished court, he synthesizes modern anti-tuberculosis drugs like isoniazid and rifampin. To create one particularly complex compound, he first has to draw its molecular structure on paper to use as a reference, a detail that highlights a limitation to his otherwise godlike abilities. To further convince the skeptical court, Pharma introduces the radical concept of germ theory. Using his pocket microscope, he shows them the tiny creatures, or bacteria as we know them, in a sample from the Empress's lungs, providing a scientific explanation for the disease that contradicts their medieval understanding. His demonstration of miraculous powers and advanced knowledge leaves his father, Bruno, stunned. Bruno realizes that the boy before him is not the son he knew, acknowledging the profound and bizarre change in his behavior and abilities. Despite this unsettling realization, the evidence is undeniable. Convinced by the demonstration, Empress Elizabeth agrees to undergo Pharma's proposed 6-month treatment regimen. Later, as they return home, Bruno confronts Pharma, accepting that while he may not be the same person, he is still his son. In a significant moment of trust, Bruno accepts medicine from Pharma to treat his own latent tuberculosis, marking a turning point in their relationship and Bruno's willingness to embrace this new medical knowledge. Pharma's successful intervention is hailed as a miracle, but his father wisely cautions him that such knowledge could also be viewed as heresy. We now see Pharma visiting the now recovering Empress Elizabeth II. During a heartfelt conversation, the Empress expresses her fear and anxiety over having faced death. Drawing from his own past life and death as Kanji Yakutani, Pharma offers her a unique perspective, comforting her and sharing wisdom that resonates deeply. Later, Pharma is granted a formal audience with the Empress to be rewarded for saving her life. In a grand ceremony, she promotes him from an apprentice to a royal pharmaceutist, a prestigious rank. When asked what he desires as a reward, Pharma surprises the court by foregoing personal riches. Instead, he declares his lifelong dream, to open a new pharmacy. He specifies that this pharmacy will serve everyone, providing effective and affordable medicine to commoners and nobles alike. Moved by his noble goal, the Empress grants Pharma an imperial charter to establish his pharmacy in the bustling capital. His father, Bruno, is also rewarded with a territory renowned for its medicinal herbs. Soon after, builders arrive to construct the pharmacy based on modern designs drawn by Pharma. During a conversation about the shop's name, Pharma muses aloud to himself, "I never thought I'd open a pharmacy in a parallel world." The enthusiastic builders overhear this and, mistaking it for the intended name, immediately craft a large sign for the Parallel World Pharmacy. Though embarrassed by the accidental and conspicuous name, Pharma accepts it. With the pharmacy built, Pharma begins to assemble his staff. His dedicated tutor, Ellen, and his young servant, Lotte, are his first two employees. To manage the finances, Pharma's father, Bruno, arranges for the de Medicis family's experienced steward, Cedric, to retire and become the pharmacy's accountant. The pharmacy's unconventional approach and royal backing quickly draw unwanted attention. The head of the powerful pharmaceutists' guild, a snooty nobleman named Varroa, pays a visit. He attempts to intimidate the young Pharma, belittling his age and unorthodox methods. However, a fiercely protective Ellen steps in and soundly rebukes him, forcing him to retreat. This confrontation establishes the guild as a primary antagonist, wary of Pharma's potential to disrupt their control over the empire's medicine. Now, with Pharma's new pharmacy on the verge of opening its doors, he is ready to challenge the established medical practices of the world and fulfill his dream of making healthcare accessible to all. Next, the newly established pharmacy faces its first significant hurdle: a lack of customers. Despite the news of its opening spreading, the common folk are hesitant to enter a pharmacy run by a nobleman. To understand the public's reluctance, the ever-diligent Lotte conducts a survey. During a visit from Pharma's parents, his mother, Beatrice, suggests a novel idea to attract female customers, selling cosmetics. However, his father, Bruno, is vehemently opposed to the idea, revealing that the lead-based face powders currently popular among noblewomen are highly toxic and have led to the premature deaths of many. This piques Pharma's interest, as he is aware of the dangers of lead poisoning from his life in the modern world. The pharmacy soon receives a noble patient, Chloe de Chatillon, who has numerous scars on her arm. Pharma diagnoses her with anemia resulting from bloodletting, a common and harmful practice used to achieve a paler complexion, which is considered a mark of beauty. This encounter solidifies Pharma's resolve to create safe and beneficial cosmetic products. Drawing on his advanced pharmaceutical knowledge, Pharma develops a line of non-toxic cosmetics. His creations not only provide aesthetic enhancement, but also offer practical benefits, such as moisturizing the skin and providing protection from the sun. To staff his new cosmetics venture, Pharma takes a progressive approach. He hires women who had been blacklisted by other guilds for having children, offering them a second chance at their careers. In a move unheard of in this world, he also introduces the concept of paid maternity leave, demonstrating his commitment to the well-being of his employees. This also highlights Pharma's continued struggles with the economic aspects of running a business. He needs guidance from both Chloe and the Empress to grasp the basic principles of supply and demand, as his initial instinct is to sell his products at extremely low prices, which could disrupt the market. Next, we see the de Medicis family, along with Ellen, taking a trip to the port town of Marseille. While his younger sister Blanche and Lotte are excited to play in the sea, Pharma is reminded of a painful memory from his past life as Kanji Yakutani. He recalls a promise to his own younger sister, who was terminally ill, to take her to the beach, a promise he couldn't keep. This memory casts a shadow over the otherwise cheerful atmosphere. The joyful outing takes a perilous turn when Blanche is swept away by a strong current and begins to drown. Driven by the trauma of losing his sister in his previous life, Pharma acts instinctively and unleashes his divine arts on an unprecedented scale. In a display of immense power, he literally makes a large portion of the ocean vanish to rescue Blanche, an act that resembles the parting of the sea. While his family is awestruck and relieved, this miraculous feat does not go unnoticed. A mysterious group of clergymen, who are later identified as being part of an inquisition, witness the event and become suspicious of the zombie god boy. Back at the capital, the parallel world pharmacy has seen a threefold increase in customers since the return. However, among the patrons are suspicious individuals in white robes who seem to be investigating Pharma. The threat against Pharma soon becomes more direct when an unmanned cart filled with manure is deliberately crashed into his pharmacy. This act of aggression serves as a clear message that someone is targeting him and his establishment. A young girl approaches Pharma with a desperate plea for him to help her sick father. Despite the recent attack on his pharmacy and the presence of suspicious individuals, Pharma's compassionate nature leads him to follow the girl to an isolated location without his usual guards. It is here that he is confronted by the group of clergymen from the Holy Kingdom, who reveal themselves as inquisitors. They have lured him into a trap, setting the stage for a direct confrontation.
Before we continue, just a quick reminder to like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy seeing content like this. Now, back to the video.
The leader of the Inquisitors, Solomon, encounters Pharma, who finds himself surrounded. The Inquisitors launch a coordinated attack using powerful divine arts, including fire and wind magic. Pharma, committed to his principles as a healer, focuses on defense. He creates a massive water shield to protect himself and neutralizes their attacks without causing any harm to his assailants. His immense and varied magical abilities leave the Inquisitors stunned, as he demonstrates control over multiple elements, which should be impossible for a single person. During the intense confrontation, Solomon falls from his horse and suffers a severe open fracture in his leg. Knowing the injury is fatal by the standards of their world due to inevitable infection, Solomon prepares to take his own life to atone for failing his mission and attacking a being of such immense power. However, as the Inquisitors get a closer look at Pharma, they notice the divine marking on his arm. Solomon recognizes this as the symbol of the medicine god Panactheos. The realization dawns on them. They have not been fighting a demon, but their own guardian deity. Instantly, their aggression turns to reverence, and they bow down before him, horrified at their grave sin of attacking a god. Despite being their intended victim, Pharma's immediate concern is Solomon's life-threatening injury. Declaring that he is a pharmacist, he decides to perform emergency surgery on the spot to save Solomon's leg and life. Using his advanced knowledge from his past life, Pharma creates the necessary surgical tools, anesthetics, and sterile environment out of thin air with his powers. He then proceeds to set the bone and clean the wound, a medical procedure far beyond the capabilities of this world. Having saved Solomon's life and revealed his divine nature, Pharma solidifies a powerful and unexpected alliance. The Inquisition, once his greatest threat, now pledges its unwavering loyalty to him. They promise to suppress any and all reports of the boy with no shadow, effectively eliminating the danger his unique characteristic posed. To further aid him, Solomon presents Pharma with two divine items. The first is a powerful staff, the Panak Rabdos, which resembles a large broomstick and can be used for flight. The second is a talisman designed to suppress divine power. This amulet has a welcome side effect. By dampening his overwhelming aura, it allows Pharma to cast a shadow which was previously absent from him, enabling him to blend in with normal people and avoid further suspicion. During a stormy night, we find Pierre, a third-class pharmacist and member of the established Pharmaceutist Guild, in a state of panic. His young daughter, Marie, is critically ill with a dangerously high fever, convulsions, and is foaming at the mouth. Desperate for help, he finds the local clinic closed for the next week. By a stroke of luck, he encounters Pharma, who immediately offers his assistance and brings the father and daughter to the parallel world pharmacy. Inside the pharmacy, Pharma conducts a thorough examination using his modern medical knowledge. He calmly reassures the distraught Pierre, explaining that Marie's high fever is a natural response of her body fighting an infection. Using his diagnostic divine art, he identifies the illness as influenza. He then proceeds with a treatment far beyond the understanding of this world. He measures the child's weight to calculate the precise dosage, a standard practice in modern medicine, but unheard of here. Pharma administers zanamivir, an antiviral medication, through an inhaler he creates on the spot, and also provides acetaminophen to help manage the fever's severity. He carefully explains the purpose of each medicine to Pierre, whose amazement grows with every action Pharma takes. The treatment works remarkably fast, and Marie's condition stabilizes quickly, leaving her father in awe of Pharma's skill and compassion. Deeply moved and inspired by Pharma's advanced knowledge and selfless dedication to his patient, Pierre decides to share his experience with the Pharmaceutist Guild. He hopes that this incredible event will push the guild to reform its outdated and often neglectful practices. His hopes are brutally crushed. The guild's leader, Verone, and its members view Pierre's praise for an outsider as an act of betrayal. Instead of embracing a new medical frontier, they feel threatened. Their response is swift and cruel. They vandalize Pierre's shop, confiscate his medicinal herbs, and revoke his pharmacist license, effectively destroying his livelihood and exiling him from his profession. Later, Pharma discovers Pierre and Marie on the street, having lost everything. Appalled by the guild's vindictive actions, Pharma makes a proposition. He reveals that he has already received the Empress's blessing to establish a new, ethical guild that prioritizes patient care over profit. He offers Pierre a position to work alongside him. Filled with gratitude and a renewed sense of purpose, Pierre accepts. He joins Pharma, Ellen, and Lot, becoming a key member of the team. This culminates with the opening of a new pharmacy branch, symbolizing a new beginning and a direct challenge to the old guard. They name it the Dawn Pharmacy, signifying the start of a new era of accessible and effective healthcare for everyone.
We now see a somber flashback, providing insight into the past of Pharma's father, Bruno de Medicis. He recalls a brilliant but morally corrupt former colleague named Camus, who was exiled for conducting horrific medical experiments on human subjects. This memory serves as a dark prelude to the unfolding events, hinting at the potential for human ambition to cause immense suffering. The immediate plot is set in motion by a letter from Bruno's eldest son, Paula. Stationed in a neighboring country, Paula reports a mysterious and virulent disease that has completely wiped out a settlement on Ponte Island. This news is especially alarming as the Empire is preparing for the Grand Saint-Fleur Great Fair, an event that will bring a massive influx of people to the capital. Upon hearing the described symptoms, Pharma's modern medical knowledge allows him to immediately identify the terrifying illness, the Black Death. Realizing the catastrophic potential of an outbreak, Pharma, Bruno, and Empress Elizabeth take swift and decisive action. A state of emergency is declared, and a series of public health measures are rapidly implemented. These include quarantine. Strict quarantine protocols are established to contain the potential spread of the disease. A public health campaign. An imperial decree is issued urging citizens to exterminate rats and fleas, the primary vectors of the plague. The importance of boiling clothes for sterilization is communicated to the public. Inspection and control. Checkpoints are set up at the city gates to inspect all incoming cargo and people. With these initial countermeasures in place, Pharma and Ellen prepared to travel to the port city of Marseille. Their mission is to intercept the ships arriving from Ponte Island and prevent the plague from reaching the capital. We are shown a chilling scene that personifies the plague, suggesting a malevolent intelligence behind the outbreak, possibly connected to the disgraced and vengeful Camus. This final moment transforms the impending epidemic from a natural disaster to a deliberate act of aggression, raising the stakes for Pharma and the Empire.
We are shown the bustling port city of Marseille, where Pharma and Ellen have established a quarantine station to inspect all incoming ships. Their efforts are met with immediate resistance from impatient sailors and merchants, who are more concerned with their cargo and schedules than the potential for a deadly outbreak. This initial conflict underscores the human element of crisis management, where fear and self-interest can impede necessary safety measures. Despite the grumbling and threats, Pharma and his team hold firm, meticulously inspecting each vessel. Amidst the tense situation at the port, a messenger arrives with dire news. A nearby village, L'Estaque, has suffered numerous deaths from a rapidly spreading illness with symptoms identical to the dreaded Black Death. It is revealed that a ship of smugglers, attempting to bypass the quarantine, had made landfall near the village, introducing the plague to the local population. Recognizing the catastrophic potential of this new outbreak, Pharma makes the difficult decision to leave the port quarantine under Eleanor's command and travel to L'Estaque himself. Understanding that he is the only one with the modern medical knowledge to accurately diagnose and treat the plague, he uses his divine powers to fly to the village, a testament to the urgency of the situation. Upon his arrival, Pharma is met not with relief, but with fear and hostility from the terrified villagers. They view him with suspicion, with some even believing him to be an evil spirit responsible for the pestilence. Faced with their panic and unwillingness to listen, Pharma is forced to use a display of his immense power, creating a massive wall of ice to command their attention and enforce a quarantine. With the villagers' compliance secured, Pharma immediately begins to implement modern medical protocols to contain the outbreak. He divides the village into 3 distinct zones: an uninfected area, a slightly infected area, and a severely infected area. This allows for a more organized approach to treatment and prevents further spread of the disease. He also institutes a system of triage, prioritizing the treatment of those with a higher chance of survival to maximize the number of lives saved. Pharma's swift actions and advanced medical knowledge begin to bring the situation in L'Estaque under control. However, the episode concludes with a somber reminder of the plague's devastating power. The ship that initially brought the infection to the village is found to have its entire crew dead. To prevent any further spread, the vessel is sunk, a grim but necessary sacrifice to protect the wider population. This final act underscores the high stakes of the battle against the Black Death and the difficult choices that must be made in the face of a pandemic.
During his examinations, Pharma deduces that the illness is not the dreaded Black Death as initially feared. However, his investigation into the source of the outbreak leads him to a group of merchants who had recently passed through the village. Realizing they are unknowingly spreading the disease, Pharma sets out to track them down to prevent a wider epidemic. Back in Saint-Fleuve, the threat of the actual Black Death looms large. Bruno takes proactive measures to find a cure. He seeks out Professor Casper, a respected but underlooked researcher on the verge of retirement who has dedicated her life to the study of fungi and microorganisms. Bruno believes her extensive knowledge holds the key to developing a new medicine capable of combating the plague. Professor Casper, initially hesitant due to years of being dismissed by her male colleagues, is invigorated by the opportunity to have her research finally put to a critical use. The situation in the capital takes a dark turn with the sudden appearance of mysterious knights.
These individuals unleash a horde of infected flying squirrels upon the unsuspecting populace of St. Fliv, revealing a calculated and malevolent plot to spread the Black Death. This act of bioterrorism confirms that the outbreak is not a natural occurrence, but a deliberate attack on the Empire. Amidst the escalating crisis, the episode also delves into the character of Ellen, Pharma's dedicated assistant. Witnessing Pharma's seemingly miraculous abilities and unwavering composure, she begins to feel a sense of inadequacy and questions her own capabilities as a pharmacist. This internal conflict adds a layer of emotional depth to the narrative, highlighting the human element within the fantastical setting. Pharma continues his pursuit of the infected merchants while the capital is thrown into chaos by the engineered plague. The stage is set for a dramatic confrontation as Pharma must race against time to prevent a widespread catastrophe and uncover the identity of the shadowy figures behind the attack.
As Pharma returns to the capital, he arrives to find the city in a state of panic and chaos. The Black Death is spreading rapidly, not through natural means, but via magically enhanced flying squirrels released by enigmatic knights. This confirms that the epidemic is a deliberate attack. Bishop Solomon and his forces manage to stop the knights, who reveal the involvement of a man named Camus. The infection, however, is already widespread. The architect of this devastating plot is revealed to be Camus de Sade, a brilliant but twisted former classmate and rival of Pharma's father Bruno. Camus, who had been banished from the Empire for conducting inhumane and forbidden medical experiments, has returned to exact his revenge. Possessed by a demonic power, his resentment and warped ideology drive him to unleash an epidemic he believes will expose the world's truths. The conflict becomes deeply personal when Camus infiltrates the parallel world pharmacy, the heart of Pharma's new life. In a vicious act, he attacks Pharma's loyal servant girl Lotte and the accountant Cedric with a poisoned dagger. Pharma and his father Bruno arrive at the pharmacy just in time. A fierce confrontation ensues. While Bruno, a powerful divine arts user in his own right, engages his former peer Camus in battle, Pharma's priority is to save his friends. Using his advanced knowledge and unique abilities, he quickly diagnoses the complex poison and miraculously purges it from Lotte and Cedric's bodies, saving their lives. Camus, enhanced by his demonic possession, proves to be too powerful for Bruno and gains the upper hand. Seeing his father defeated and his friends threatened, Pharma steps in to fight the crazed pharmacist. Tapping into the immense power of the god of medicine within him, Pharma employs his divine arts. He uses the might of his divine staff, the Panak Rabdos, to ultimately destroy not only Camus, but also the malevolent entity that possessed him. The defeat of Camus culminates in a massive blast of purifying light that spreads across the capital. This powerful rite of purification eradicates the Black Death from the city, instantly curing the populace and ending the manufactured plague. With the crisis averted and the mastermind defeated, Pharma has protected his new home and the people he has grown to cherish, solidifying his role as a revolutionary and benevolent figure in this new world.
And that's a wrap on our recap of Parallel World Pharmacy. From a dedicated researcher in modern Japan to a divinely powered pharmacist in a new world, Pharma de Medicis truly revolutionized medicine and made healthcare accessible to all. We've seen him tackle everything from the white sickness to the Black Death, using his knowledge of modern medicine and unique abilities to create life-saving remedies. It was a journey that challenged the established norms of the San Flev Empire, earning him both powerful allies and dangerous enemies. Pharma's dedication to his patients, regardless of their social standing, serves as the heart of the series. What did you think of the series? Was it everything you hoped for? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this recap and want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay healthy.